Hi, this is Frank Schaefer, and I'd like to point out that Tucker Carlson supports Vladimir Putin as he has his military shoot down a private jet over Russia so it tumbles into the Moscow area as a warning to all his enemies as he has murdered the head of the Wagner mercenary group that Putin is also using in Africa to terrorize regimes, support coup leaders, and make sure that pro-Western regimes in Central Africa move in fear of their lives as their coup plotters know they will get backing from Vladimir Putin. This is what Tucker Carlson has supported. This is what Tucker Carlson supports. Why? Because Tucker Carlson himself fits perfectly with a corrupt oligarchy. He worked for years for Rupert Murdoch, who is sort of our own Vladimir Putin, and has bestrode the globe with his media empire, putting regimes in power that are more like Putin than they are anything democratically elected. And what you see today in Vladimir Putin murdering this number two man in Russia, the most powerful person besides Vladimir Putin up until the coup plot against Vladimir Putin by the Wagner Group, what you see in this murder is exactly what Trump would like to do to his opponents, what he has promised to do when he says there will be violence, when he is indicted, arrested, tried, convicted. What you have to understand is that in Tucker Carlson and Donald Trump's worldview, and in the worldview of the gun-owning Republican fascists that support him, in the view of the white evangelical Christian nationalists armed to the teeth that support him, who hoard thousands of rounds of ammunition to stand against the US government if push comes to shove, in their view, a strong oligarchy, a strong top-down authoritarian regime, a dictatorship in the name of Christ, or at least in the name of right-wing values and white supremacy, should be enforced by any means possible. And so when Vladimir Putin uses his forces to shoot out of the sky the number two most powerful person in Russia up until recently, and expands the reach of his murder regime that has thrown countless people from windows, poisoned others, put others in jail, had others stabbed and mugged and beaten in the street, blew up buildings at the beginning of the Putin regime, and then said they were terrorist acts and that he should be in power to resist these acts, this murderous regime. This is exactly a mirror image of what Donald Trump would like to be doing here, and so far has been stopped from doing. But their hearts beat as one. These are the same kind of people, corrupt to the core, criminals, con artists, liars, murderers. These are the people that Donald Trump supports. They are supported by Tucker Carlson. These are the sorts of people who are now taking over the Republican Party. And if given a free rein with their anti-government stance, their anti-democracy stance, their anti-Justice Department stance, their criminalization of the Supreme Court, their corruption of the Supreme Court with the thugs that have been put there, these Roman Catholic backward throwbacks to the Middle Ages who are disempowering women and taking their rights away, who threaten gay rights, who threaten gay marriage, who will take the birth control pill off the market if they have their way, in the same way they are now crushing the freedom in America to get an abortion pill. This same group of people, these people are the mirror image in the United States of what Vladimir Putin is to Russia. They do not believe in democracy. If they could get away with it, they would be shooting Democratic candidates and commentators and news people out of the air. They would be murdering across the board in the way Putin does if they could get away with it. Their hearts beat as one. Vladimir Putin is a vision of the American future of a second Donald Trump presidency. And that is why people like Tucker Carlson support Putin, who, by the way, argues his case in the name of upholding Christian values against gay people, against trans people, and against women. Backward, authoritarian, oligarchical. And guess what? It is no coincidence that Elon Musk and some of these other titans, these billionaires who are richer than our own government in many ways, who have insinuated themselves into American foreign policy, as Musk has with SpaceX and Starlink and the other things, the foolishness of our government of getting into bed with Elon Musk and these other would-be oligarchical rulers. They too fit in with this regime. We have a chance to sustain our democracy by voting for Democrats for every single political office in this country. The chips are down. Do you want to live in a nation that shoots political opponents out of the air and takes revenge on people and threatens to hang a vice president with the blessing of a president who's clinging to power? Or do you want to live in the United States of America? There is only one political party in this country. It is not the rabble of Republicans who have kowtowed to our own Vladimir Putin. It is Democrats across the board. And if you do not vote for them, and if you do not turn out, you've seen the future. It's a future in which a dictator is shooting someone who has crossed his path in the wrong way out of the air and getting away with it. It is a future supported by the likes of Tucker Carlson. It is a future supported by the likes of the lick-spittle Republican candidates who are not daring to stand up against their own Vladimir Putin, against Donald Trump, even though they're running against him because they fear him in the same way that Putin's servants fear him. And I'm not saying that Donald Trump has the power to kill his political rivals in the Republican Party physically, but he certainly has the power and will use it to kill their careers using every dirty, corrupt trick possible, including claiming that he's still president and that he never lost an election. And he has his cult followers imposing his will and already threatening violence by predicting it. We know who this man is. Vote for Democrats. Save our democracy. We do not want a Putin-esque Trump supported by the likes of Tucker Carlson and our oligarchical titans of the tech business, these libertarian tech bros, these ignorant men who are rich, creating the same kind of corrupt system, insinuating themselves into the United States in the way that, for instance, Musk has, this South African, who brought with him the stink of an apartheid regime into our own country with his right-wing pivot. That's our future unless we vote for Democrats on every single contest in our country. Oh yeah, and one more thing. When Ramaswamy, echoing Elon Musk and the other oligarchs in waiting, says, quote, "Do you want incremental reform or do you want a revolution? I stand on the side of revolution." And he is cheered by Republican audiences. What he is really saying is, look, my entrepreneurial ruling class doesn't want regulation. We reject the US government and we want to take over and run things. That's what he's saying. And that's why Elon Musk and these other titans of the tech business hate the government. They don't want regulation because they honestly think they are smarter than the rest of us. And we humble voters put the government in power. And who they really hate when they denounce the government, take on the regulators, is any idea that there are people out there who have any power over them. They are libertarian entrepreneurs and they don't want anybody to regulate them. That is why they hate the US government. That is why they are trending right. That is why they attack bureaucrats. That is why they attack our institutions. It is a slow motion revolt against the idea that government should have anything to say representing we the people to these wannabe oligarchs and tyrannical tech masters of our future. My name is Frank Schaefer.